Okay, welcome everyone to Robot Builders Night Virtual for May 27th, 2025. Probably might be a small meeting tonight because we had some website problems and the link got lost. But hopefully, I see Mark has restored it. So thank you very much, Mark. Yep, great. So now if someone comes along, they can see it. Okay, so I guess we'll start off with DPRG news like usual. And I guess the only news I've got is I'm doing a presentation to the Homebrew Robotics group tomorrow night. They're based out in Silicon Valley, and their leader, Camp Peavy, asked me to present something on the DPRG and something on ROS. So I've got a slide set ginned up talking about the DPRG, what we do, and generating that was sort of kind of cool to see all the cool stuff that we do. So if you guys are interested, I can just quickly step through what I'm going to say about DPRG, and then I can and maybe I'll do that after Michael, and then I'm going to present on LiDAR Robot 2 and finally on ADER. So should be a pretty busy talk. So what you got?
For me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed, you have that kind of inexpensive LiDAR. I was wondering what you felt about that. It's kind of, as far as compared to, maybe the more expensive one. How do you like it?
I don't have any comparison.
Can I hear anybody?
I really can't. In terms of liking it,
I can hear Paul. So.
I like it just fine.
All right.
It works like it should.
Doug.
Okay.
And it navigates. It enables the ROS navigation stack to run around and navigate properly. If I didn't have a different bug in my software, it would have done a lot better at 6CAN, but it was what it was, and it wasn't ready. But no, I like it real fine, and it's real small and compact and simple to use. So yeah, I like it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just curious because I might be getting one in the future. I just want to know if you're satisfied with it because it's at a reasonable price.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm real happy.
All right, and then my second question is kind of to the group, and I know a couple of years ago, Ray and Doug and I on Tuesday night we talked about blob detection cameras, but I've slept since then, and I've been looking at that Husky and the ESP32 camera. How do y'all feel about those as far as using them as blob detection?
I don't think the Husky actually has a blob detector. It does have an object detection. It's more of an AI camera. And I do have one, and I played a little bit around with it, but I haven't, if you want a dead simple answer, get a Pixie, okay? I'm just going to tell you, if you've got something that if you intend to move from blob detection to AI, there's other solutions, and it gets complicated. And I would say read our, we had a meeting what was it, 4 months ago, where we had a table about that stuff. You know, I mean, even there's just a lot of different possible solutions, Michael. Now, you know, it's getting more complicated than it's simple, because in the old days, the Pixie was the answer for most people. And now, and I mean, Scott uses Pixie.
Okay.
Yeah, and my third place one this last time uses a Pixie. But, you know, think that it's a solution that's getting a little long in the tooth. It works. If you're just going to stay with blob detection, it's great. So like 6CAN, it worked real well. Okay. But
that's what I have in mind is 6CAN. Maybe try to build a robot of the future for that.
Yeah. The problem with ESP32 CAM is the frame rate so low.
Slow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a $10 to $15 solution, and there's I want to say what is the max? What's the new thing, Ray, for the max bit? I can't remember it anymore.
Oh, Max Cam.
Yeah, Max Cam is. I want to say it's a $35 solution. Is that correct? Roughly.
Gotta have.
I don't know. I bought one when I bought
little
one.
more
It
than
was.
that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what prices are now.
135
For Max Cam?
No.
with the tariffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't
know.
I don't know. But it used to be, you know, the poor man's next step. You know what I mean? And then, what's the name of that other one?
OpenMV.
Yeah, OpenMV. And they just finished a Kickstarter for a nice new camera for about, and I think if you got in on the Kickstarter, $50 or $60. And so, I mean, you know, it's, you know, there's a lot of solutions. Like I say, I would recommend you going back to that round table that we had a couple of months ago to get a quick overview.
Okay.
Okay. And depending on how much money you want to spend at it and what do you want to do? If you want to stay with blob detection, Pixie's probably just as good as any answer, but it's a one-trick pony, so you can't go anywhere from there except using blob detection. If you want to start using neural networks and stuff, there's other solutions. So it's not looking so much at a blob as it is looking at an object. So you'd be trying to find cans. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I want to know is
as opposed to finding orange blobs, you'd be trying to find cans.
so go back a couple of months and y'all had a round table about that on here.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when it was.
It was more than a couple of months, wasn't it?
It could be. I've been looking at the website trying to get it fixed, guys. I know it's screwed up. So, and you know, Mark and I fixed it 2 or 3 times, and it keeps getting screwed up, and we can't find the source of the problem yet.
January 2025, Michael, is when we had the smart camera panel.
Jan 25.
Yep. If you go back on the website, go to news, and then get the latest news, and then you can scroll back through the monthly talks is what pops up, and
all right.
Surprising because there's no RBNVs in there anymore. So
aren't those videos though on YouTube as well? So
well, yeah, the website links to the YouTube. So yeah, you can go directly to the DPRG clips website and look at playlists, and there's a playlist for monthly meetings, and you'll find it on there as well.
Yeah, I'm actually subscribed on YouTube to that. Okay. Appreciate it. That's probably that's what I'm gonna need then. All right. That'll give me some info.
Yeah. And like I say, it's changing so fast, Mike. And with tariffs and everything, probably all the price information is kind of like, who knows, you know, if you can find it for a price, then go for it, you know? So,
Oh, he just put it on there. Okay.
Oh, did somebody find it?
Yeah. Kareem found it.
So this is a smart camera panel. We got
Oh, okay. I got it. Awesome. Thanks a
yeah,
lot.
that was a good symposium. People brought their best knowledge, and there was a wide variety of perspectives there.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw it for 76, but the link, Kareem's link may be cheaper.
Okay, cool.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I have. I'll be looking into that.
Yeah, with the MaxCam, you can do it has an IDE that's similar to the OpenMV H7, and you can do blob detection with it, and you can develop models using it to take the photos with to make the models. And,
but it's a little more complicated. But Mike, you were trying to learn Python.
Yes.
That's all in Python.
Oh,
So-
cool.
So that one might be a perfectly good solution for you.
yeah,
Like Ray said, you can do it all. It's not as limited as the Pixie.
right.
Oh, Max Cam with an I in it. Okay.
MAIX, yeah.
Yep.
See,
Okay, if we're done with Mike, if anyone else has anything for the queue, speak up now. Any of the newcomers, or else I'm just going to quickly run through this Prezzo, and then we'll throw it open to open mic. All right. I'm going
Oh, you can add me to the queue. I found something interesting to share.
All right. You're added, Carl. I'll put you right after me. I'll just be a few minutes on this because you guys know all this stuff. But for the people who joined a little later, I was asked to do Camp Peavy, who's the leader of the Homebrew Robotics Club, asked me to do a talk on DPRG and something Rossish. So I'm going to do a talk on DPRG and Liner Robot 2 plus Aider, and where I get into DPRG, 40 years, 40 members and active. So we do contests, indoor and outdoor. We have a weekly video call. We have monthly in-person and a remote meeting, and plus remote meeting. We usually have a tech talk, and we do some outreach activities. Club was founded in 1984. It's a similar age to HBRC and to the Seattle Robotics Society. We typically have about 40 paid up members and a considerable number of regular guests.
I would say, Paul, this is just for us. I think Seattle is a little older than us, and Homebrew, because it's an old organization, but they haven't been able to run continuously.
Okay.
They faded in and faded out.
Okay, I'm going to leave it as it is, Doug. Because
No. I'm just saying. I was just some perspective.
Okay. So in terms of activities, we have an indoor robot contest that we call Roborama in each May, and then I've got a link here that I'll show, which is going to be, it's just a little segment about 15 seconds of Mobot capturing a can and bringing it in, of Minibot capturing a can and bringing it in to the goal. And then we have an outdoor contest in November that we call Robo Columbus, which is we felt is a more accessible version of Robo Magellan, more accessible in that RTK is permitted. And I've got a little 15-second clip of Mobot approaching the cone And then more activities. We have the Robot Builders Night Virtual every week, which is a free-form show and tell where you can come with, I've got a problem, share robot news or anything related to robots every Tuesday, and I point to the big orange box on dprg.org that takes you to the link, and we record the video and we transcribe it, and then we use AI to summarize it and publish it. So here's a down on the bottom right here, on the top right is Mike showing his robot prior to Roborama. It's just like a show and tell. And then on the bottom right is an example of the email summary of what went on at the meeting that attempts to bring the of the DPRG community, keep them up to date with what's going on in the club, because RBNV is really the most active thing that goes on in the club, and we've got the kind of a slick setup in terms of I think in terms of processing the we generally have about like 12 to 20 participants from across the country, sizable contingent from Canada. We record the video with Google Meet with transcription on, and then the transcription gets summarized by ChatGPT using an AI scripting tool. I think it's N8N, I think is what it is, that summarizes the video and produces the summary, and that then we hand check and then distribute by email. And it's also summarized by Notebook LM for video chapterizing. And then the video gets uploaded to YouTube, and notes and video link published on dprg.org under news. So that's RBNV. And then more activities. We have a monthly meeting and we do outreach. I give the details here on the monthly meeting. Let's point out it's part in-person, social, part learn something new, and I got some examples of recent topics that I'll recite that we had at recent meetings. And then we have a quarterly robot power lunch where we meet at a local restaurant or bar in a segregated area. Outreach, we usually do Moon Day. And here's a picture of us at the Frontiers of Flight Museum here in the foreground. And plus we usually do some kind of support for local high school robot teams, FIRST and VEX. It might be judging or practice interviews or a variety of different things. And then our communication channels. We have the website that has all the past and upcoming meeting info and more. We have an email list mainly used for Discord for announcements, and then a Discord server. And here's a link to join it. That'll be good for a week. Or you can email President, which is used for technical, organizational, and planning and other discussions. And so tell how we chartered a comms team early last year to figure out a replacement for listserv, and they chose Google Groups for email and Discord for chat. And then I'll switch over to a tab that has there's a Discord discussion and point out. So we got sections on general and club related stuff, sections on control theory, ROS and AI, and sections on hardware, electronics, nav. People post links and photos and variety of stuff. And I think Discord has been just wildly successful, and a great thing for the club in terms of enabling communication. And then we have our YouTube channel that has all our meetings and contests, and anything that we do in DPRG and video is up there. And finally, we have a Facebook channel. You can find us there, and we post a bit of stuff for outreach. anyway, that's the DPRG section of my talk.
Very cool.
Yeah, very nice, Paul. Hey, Paul, just, you know, we're trying to fix the website, so it might be, when are you giving this talk?
Tomorrow evening.
Yeah, so I doubt it'll be fixed by then. So if you have a bunch of people going over to DPRG, they'll be saying, well, what's going on? And we will, you know, I need to discuss that with Mark tonight, you know, offline, and see our next approach. We just hope we can fix it.
Yeah.
We really just don't understand why it's all disappearing.
Right.
So, yeah.
What's disappearing? What's the issue?
Okay. Okay. When you make a post in WordPress, it gets assigned an ID number. Okay.
Yeah.
And all the parts of it and the revisions all get assigned ID numbers, but they're all referenced back to the original creation ID number. And somehow we have all of the parts, but the original ID number has disappeared. And it's just, you know, I'm blown away. And, you know, we have tried to repair this, and we can repair it. We can make it all look good. And it's getting harder because what it's doing is it seems to be going back in time more every time it screws up. But once we repair it, next time we change anything, it breaks again. And so, you know, it's like really, really frustrating. You know, so
WordPress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know if it's WordPress or
PHP or who knows.
who knows.
Well, thanks for your work on this, guys, and good luck with it.
Yeah. And, you know, I talked to DreamHost, and they suggested that we had a problem with one of our add-ins. Okay, that they said it showed up in the log. Well, that could be true, but we've had that add-on for a long time. Okay, and I mean, it was serving a real need, and I don't know why it suddenly broke, if that's the case. I mean, because it hasn't been updated. You know, you can look at the history, the change log of it, and it hadn't been updated for, you know, god awful. And so I don't know, you know, maybe something else got changed and interfered with it. But it's now been deactivated. And so I'm going to go build it one more time. And I'm going to make sure, my best guess is when we recreated it before, we recreated it. So this time we're going to recreate it, but the titles of the post is going to be different from the original post. So hopefully that'll make it different enough that it'll stick. We'll see. I mean, right now we kind of got the goat open and we're playing with the intestines. So
have you tried to repair the database?
that's not something to do. That's not something you want to try to do with, you know, if you can help it. So I'm looking at the database, and so you know, for clues of what's gone wrong. And you know, the problem is, like I say, the root or the real creating post ID is for some reason missing. And you know, it's really not there. It's just not there. So, you know, but you know, we haven't lost any. It's real funny because we haven't lost any of the attachments. You know, like that's why recreating it shouldn't be a big deal, because I mean, all of the things that we've uploaded for, you know, the chat records and the summary records and all of that, they're all still up there. Okay. You can't see them because we don't have a post pointing at them. You know what I mean? But once we get the posts back in, we can, those things don't have to be recreated or redone. So we'll see. But I was kind of, the ones that are kind of a mess are the ones that are the club meeting runs, because I can't recall what exactly was said. And we've missed the gathering of robots. I'm sure you remember that one. That was for support of DMS's open house. That one's gone. And I think the last one we just had is gone too. So anyway, well, but that one was just simply Roborama. So we were going to create a Roborama summary anyway, so that's not going to be a big deal. And thanks, Carl, for sending out the results like that. That was great.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah. If you could forward them to Mark, I forgot him apparently.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
You didn't send them to the list, I guess you.
They were just the raw form. I sent them to you and Doug.
yeah, they have to go into the Hall of Fame, and they also have to go into a summary. The one thing that I'm a little upset with, because I forgot to do it, was we usually have a gallery of robots, and I don't know if nobody took a picture of all the robots.
Yeah, I took a video. I went around and did a video of everybody who was there before the contest. So I don't have all of the robots in it, but for example, Delbert's robots aren't in it because he came.
Well, I saw Delbert. Is he still? Yeah, Del, you're still here, right? Could you do me a favor? Could you send me a picture of each of your robots?
Oh yes, I'll do that.
Okay, thanks. That's just.
I'll email it to you. Also, I sent you an email about the renewal, but yeah, I'll send you a picture also.
Okay, cool. Are you having trouble with the renewal?
No, but you had mentioned something about if it's been a long time, the password may.
Oh yeah. I was going to tell you. Yeah, by the way, anybody who gets lax and drops their dues for a long time, you don't create a new user ID. You just, at worst, you just tell me, and I'll tell you what your old one was, and you'll get that activated, because that's the way you want to do it. You don't want to end up with 3 or 4 accounts with your name on it, because it makes it really messy. That's the sort of thing that messes up the WordPress. Anyway, so yeah, I'll talk to you about that offline.
We're good.
And okay, Carl, you had something.
Okay, yeah. All right. So there was a session a month ago or so when Steve Edwards ran through the system he built that put some kind of LLM GPT in review of the of what was it, the DPRG email notes or something.
Yes, it was the old list, I believe.
So I need to go back and look at that more closely, but I realized something this weekend that I wanted to share because I don't know, it could be useful, and I think that it's better to share it than to figure it all out before sharing it. So is everyone familiar with Google operators, like search operators? So okay, so it turns out that you can do things like you can go to Google search if your browser isn't as horribly slow as this is.
The not operator is super useful.
Yeah, the not, and so Like, so like, let's forget that one. Let's just go to ask Bing here. If you go site : and you give it a domain name and then the search term, it'll look for that stuff within, oh, now Google's coming back. It'll look for that stuff within that site, right? So I can do site : and this is just the Mercedes Club. I first figured this out. And if I switch over to Copilot, oh, this is Google. But or no, yeah, this is Google search. So here it, you know, it specifically looks to the Google's screwed up right now because that website doesn't work very well. Bing does. So anyhow, it turns out that these this operator, if you include that at least with Bing, so this is Copilot, Microsoft.com. So I tried looking the site dprg.org. What can you tell me about options and best practices to solve the 6-can competition? And I tried the Think Deeper version, and it came back with a pretty decent little summary here, you know? And it gave some references.
Oh,
Yeah.
10 man. Wow. Scott should be proud.
You know, I mean, it figured this stuff out somehow, and it gives you some option to drill down in a little bit. So like we can say, okay, what specific, or let's talk about this. What you suggest effective mechanical designs for manipulator. So you click on that, which means that for it to prompt that question, it must have looked at common questions somehow, right? So there we go. Simplified serial manipulator with a dedicated, and it cites references to some level. I haven't tried to check them all. But anyhow, it made me think I didn't pay enough attention to Steve's work that he did. But I thought that, wow, this is pretty cool because you can get the benefits of the large language model without having it on a specific site, without having to build anything for your site. And it made me wonder what other operators that work for generic search engines and or not can you apply to these LLMs. So, like I say, this is a new thing I figured out this weekend. I haven't had much time to play with it, but at a glance, I mean, and it's got outside references as well as DPRG references. So, anyhow,
Ooh.
that's the little lesson of the day: site : website domain name. And I was
Site : and then the name.
Yeah, site : and a domain name.
And this should work on Google.
Oh, it for sure. That's where I first used it. In fact, if you search for Google search operators, actually, let's try Copilot here just for grins. I've been playing around a little bit with different ones. So if we do, tell me about Google search operators. Also, please review whether the same operators can be commonly used on other search engines as well as GPT LLM models. Let's see what it has to say. Because you can, if you search on Google search operators, there's actually a list. There's quite a few of them. It sounds like, Kareem, you like the not, but you can do and, you can do near. Oh, look at this. File type, in title. Yeah, so like Bing Chat combines LLMs with live search. Now it says here it doesn't natively interpret site or file type, but I'm telling you, I mean, yeah, you can coerce it to go look in a certain place. I think, like I did with the search on Mercedes stuff, for example, because they have a similar problem as DPRG. They have like 19,000 or 13,000 posts in a forum that's been running for the last 15 or 18 years. So you could do the boring old keyword search, or something like this, I think, could do a very nice job of semantically parsing what's in there and helping you sift through it. Anyhow,
That's pretty interesting.
tidbit of the night. Got to contribute something.
I'm trying it in Gemini. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow. But it really just gives the rule, comes up with the rules. It didn't come up with all the stuff that you got.
Yeah, who knows? It might be in the phrasing or the other context bits, or I don't know. Or maybe, I used on Copilot to think deeper, because I got a pretty high level short snippet with the super quick search. But when I asked it to do the more advanced reasoning model, it came up much more detail.
Oh, okay.
So I'm basically back in trying to compare some of these mode, because I got a number of different problems to solve, and it's interesting to compare them. And some of them, like it looks like Grok and Copilot are able to search live sites on demand, whereas ChatGPT doesn't like to do that when you ask it. It'll do it if you don't ask it sometimes, but like there was one thing I asked, and whatever it was in the way that I asked it, it went in and pulled up news that was only into the reports in the media like 6 hours earlier, and it showed up in a ChatGPT response. But if I asked it specifically for current events, it said, I can't do that. I haven't been trained for 2 years. But these other models like Perplexity and Copilot and Grok, they seem to have no problem just checking live sites. Which, well, yeah. So anyhow, back on the DPRG website thing, I don't know, Doug. I feel like I've had some pretty good success with the ChatGPT 03 advanced model, debugging some pretty technical HT access and robots text problems on another website. So it might be able to help you sort out the index reference problem at DPRG.
You move it, Doug.
Cool. I just posted a link to the HBRC meeting that I'm going to do the presentation at. So if anyone feels inclined to spend some of your evening,
All these aren't lamb chops, but they're pizza. Not compared to your lamb chops.
nothing wrong with pizza, Harold. Okay.
So what time is that meeting, Paul? I know you just used
7:30 Pacific.
Sorry,
Sorry, I left that off.
Yeah.
Was it 7 p.m.?
So
7
that's
p.m. Pacific. Oops.
that's at 9 o'clock here.
9 p.m.
Yeah. Or is it 10 p.m.? 7?
2 hours.
Is it 3 hours or 2 hours?
2 hours. So it'll be 9 p.m. is when the
Okay.
meeting starts, and they do like 15 minutes of club news, sort of like we do, and then they have about an hour-long presentation, and then they do whatever else they do.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Well, why don't we switch to open mic? I can share something that I did this evening that was kind of cool. So, a month ago, I gave a talk on Lino Robot, and as part of that, I pointed out how the two repos are diverging, or there's a fork of Lino Robot that Thomas Chu has, and it's diverging owing in part to my contributions. Well, tonight I just had a quick off-the-cuff meeting with the owner of the upstream repo, Juan Miguel Jimeno, who lives in Singapore, and so we discussed the future of the project and where he wants to take it and what he thinks about it currently. And anyway, the bottom line is he's open to contributions, and it doesn't have a Jazzy branch at the moment, but he said he'd make one, and I said that I'd provide pull requests to make Lino Robot 2 work on Jazzy to his upstream repo. So that's good,
I think it's fantastic, Paul. I think it's utterly fantastic.
yeah. I was like real pleased that he was like open to ideas, and he had a certain perspective that he thought that the firmware ought to be agnostic to ROS, because at the moment the firmware is based on micro ROS, and it has lets you create publishers and subscribers, and so I pointed out, well, that's all well and good. You can do your own communication protocol, but then anyone who uses your firmware and has their custom thing down there, like a can grabber or a manipulator or who knows what, maybe it's not a PWM based platform, it's something that like a Roomba. They're going to have to extend the communications protocol to get it back up into the ROS world, and he accepted that, and I don't know that he'd really thought that deeply about that particular point. So anyway, I think I got a very positive vibe from it, and felt he was open to letting the community take it to some places that might not, it wasn't his way or the highway.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So that was kind of different.
Yep. Did he contact you, Paul, or how did that work?
I contacted him. I sent an email to him and Thomas Chu, who's the other contributor. He's the guy whose code I have been using, and I contributed to his repo to make it work on Jazzy. And then I sent an email to the both of them and to this French guy who hosts a Lino Robot 2 conversation on meetup thing on Sundays, and kind of got some dialogue going there, and ended up agreeing with Thomas to have with Juan to have a quick telecon, which was great because it lets me put a different slant on my depiction of where the Lino Robot 2 software is at, and is going for my talk tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty neat. And David, you got your robot going, and
I really appreciate your insight into what my problem was. I would not have ever guessed that it was a heating problem.
just a stab in the dark. But it didn't seem to be having problems when you were running it at the competition.
was one of the strange things. It seemed to work there. But unfortunately, I've only got about 1% of the code written, and all I had was the motor running with no control at all, just timed.
You know, everyone starts somewhere, right?
Yeah. I think Mike is using time too. You know, otherwise he goes forward for a certain time and then backwards for a certain time. And he did great. You know.
Hey, so I want to throw something out. Sorry, sorry for not giving you a heads up on this, Doug. But it just popped into mind when David was talking. Something that disturbs me about our competitions is it's possible for someone or people to pull old robots off the shelf that are quite good robots and sweep the prize pool. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that's healthy for the competition. I don't think it encourages newer people to like advance in that area. And so I want to suggest that we ought to do, you know, there's a couple that just sort of shift away from that paradigm, and there's a couple of points that I could see us shifting away from. We could say only one robot per competitor per contest. That's a sort of like an extreme version of, but it's kind of fair in some ways, because it balances the playing field between, you know, people who only have one robot.
I agree with Paul. Bring your A game to whatever competition you want. If you're simply going to win 1, 2, and 3 and sweep the competition because you've got 27 robots in the thing, that's not too cool.
Right.
One thing and run it.
Right.
I'm agreeing with you, Paul.
So that's one, you know, the extreme position on that is pick your robot, enter it in a competition, and that's your run. There's a less extreme, sort of a middle ground, which might be interesting, which is you can run other robots and the best one can win, but you can only win one place. Or another position you could take where you could say you can do a demo, you can run a robot as a demo, but pick which one you want to enter for a prize. There's different ways you could do this, but I feel like it's unbalanced at the moment.
No, unusual, but I think what you're really referring to is the fact that Scott swept the sumo, that's really pretty much because we didn't have enough robots in that competition. If we'd had maybe, let's say there were 3 other people there, you know, it would have been a much bigger thing. My thought is I wouldn't want to limit a person to one robot because I've been there where I've been working on 2 robots and they're really different. And I enjoy the fact that I have different robots that I can run in it. We could argue that you can't, you know, that you can't take, we can argue the point where your highest robot wins a prize and, you know, the other ones, but that's not really fair either too. You know, I mean, if you made 1 and 2, you really need to be able to take the first and second place. But I don't think you should be able to sweep the whole thing, you know.
And I'm not just referring to sumo, to mini sumo. The same thing happened in 6-can.
No, well, you know, he ran 2 robots.
And took first and third.
Yeah. Hey, but whose fault is that? Ours? I mean, you know, hey, you know, how come, you know, we didn't have anything strong enough to take one of those to the places?
Well, but
that's the way I look at it. as well
Yeah.
is that, I've been working trying to get it to go, and the other competitors have run multiple robots in the same competition I'm trying to get one going in, and I don't begrudge them for winning, first and second place or first, second, and third. It's just something for me to work towards.
Yeah.
And even if they win with a sub 2-minute time or whatever it is, it's still something to work on because I still see opportunities on the course
Yeah.
when they're running.
Yeah, otherwise, what I'm saying, the reason why dominant robots seem to dominate is because the competition isn't strong enough. And so the answer to that, I believe, is to get. Now, I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought for sure that I didn't think Scott was going to take first, second, and third. Okay. I would have been happy with him taking first and second, but first, second, and third. But hey, who am I? I took first because Kareem, helped me out. You know what I mean? He made it a competition, so I can't really argue that, and I appreciate that. So my thought is that I don't think we want to. I would say we could limit that you could have no more than 2. If you want to do that, I think we could do that. But this is the first time we've actually had a competitor that had 3 robots in the same contest. And
there are some weird edge cases that make it tougher. So I appreciate Paul's perspective, and the intent behind it, I think, is rock solid. But the other comments are also solid. But you can have strange situations like, what if you have a personal robot, but then you're also participating in a team, and the team robot is also competing, right? It's like, then do we like?
Yeah,
tip off the team, or do you have to withdraw your personal robot? Or it's a difficult thing to legislate.
It's usually hard for us to even get one robot to work. And right now, Scott's got a head start. He's a strong competitor, and you can imagine from his point of view, he has a really good robot, and he decides to make a new robot. Okay, so now he has 2 really strong robots. And someday he's going to say to the second one, well, this one could really be improved. So he's going to make a 3rd robot. And then he's going to, and if nobody can catch him, he's just going to have strong robots, and that's, the answer is stronger competition, Well, don't lay down. Don't lay down. Go, go, go.
I'm from East Texas, and they got a saying down there. It's like there's no problem that can't be solved without with the proper application of explosives. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. But
I'm totally joking. I'm totally joking. Totally joking.
Yeah. And his all aluminum, his newest robot, I don't remember what it was called. Was it the number 9? Was it the number 9 robot that's all aluminum? I think it is.
Yeah.
Number 9 is the newest.
He did a 4 square and had a 0. A 0. I've never seen that before. I've seen close to 0, but this was like
that was
dead
impressive.
nuts 0. Okay. And in the second robot, he didn't take second, did he? I don't think so.
No, not on 4 corner. Mike took second.
Mike, yeah. So Mike beat him, Did he take 3rd, Mark?
Yeah, he took 3rd on 4 corners and then 1st and 2nd on 6 can.
Yeah. But, I don't feel that his speed is so fast that somebody couldn't catch him. Not yet. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, if you really pushed it, he'd have to rethink his robots paradigm, and he'd have faster robots. But
I really wasn't.
Well, we have, you
I
know,
wasn't
we're
trying to-
blessed to have a strong competitor. That's
Yeah, yeah,
my feeling.
yeah.
We're
And
really
I-
blessed because that gives us all something to shoot for. And no, so I'm not. I don't know that. I know you're just sitting there as the club president with all of these extravagant prizes that you guys have okayed, and you're worried about, holy shit, this guy's making a ton of money. Well, that wasn't the intent. That wasn't the intent.
If you got good robots, you should win. But
Yeah.
what kind of troubles me is when you pull an older robot off the shelf and add it to your latest offering and start grabbing multiple prizes. And I think Roborama might have had some of that going on as well. Robo Columbus, I'm sorry. I don't remember for sure. But I'm not really an advocate of peanut butter, spreading the wealth in a peanut butter way. I think strong competitors should be rewarded, but it seems a bit extreme when. But I also want to support the club and this and helping it be competitive and helping people have a chance at prizes, even if they're not the best.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but let's say, so you're saying,
everybody's a winner in the Special Olympics, or what?
Yeah.
No, I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, I think one thing we could approach and say is that you could only have 2 robots in a contest. I mean, that's one possibility. That'd be but you want people to be able to build new robots. Okay. Yeah. And so what do you do when you have you do have a stable of robots that can beat everybody on the field? What do you do? I mean, do you not run your robots? Do you just like put them up on blocks? That's not going to be your tendency. And I don't even think Scott was thinking he was going to take all of the sumo ones, because he has what he called his push robot, where basically it's out there like a brick that he's expecting people to push him off. And the competition wasn't strong enough, Yeah. So, hey.
So I mean, let's hear from. So it would make me happy if we said no more than 2 robots. But what do other people think? I mean, it's a good discussion here.
Yeah, I thought Dave Anderson had a point. He was saying, you don't necessarily have to establish a time during one of the competitions. If you have a robot that you think can beat, somebody else's robot, you could do a trial run and say, okay, I videotaped this. My time is, I got 6 cans and my time is, I think Scott's time was 2 minutes and 5 seconds. If you're under that, then you've got something that beat Scott's robot. So
yeah, I mean, you can always look at the Hall of Fame and see where the robots have run in the past.
Yeah,
and
I thought I was sub 2 minutes at some point, but I'd have to look at that, see.
Yeah, and so obviously there's can placement can be a factor, but I don't know.
Or maybe you could say,
I think it's something that we can bring up, Paul, over, but I'd want buy-in from a lot of people on it, because I don't want to make that rule.
One of the things I think here, though, is that you don't want somebody that's so dominant that they're discouraging the other people from even competing.
Right. Well, in a way, what we did in line following was we split the challenge. Okay. So, that could possibly be another way. We could have the poison can, where you have to get 6 cans in, but if you bring in the wrong 6 cans, you get a point taken off or something like that. I mean, there's ways that you can think up of changing the task up, but the reason we're doing 6 can instead of can soccer was because can soccer is harder. It's a lot harder, and to do it right. And to be quite honest, Scotch robots can do 6 can soccer because they have self-correcting features. He's constantly monitoring where he is. Even if he gets batted around, he can still figure out where he is. So
Yep.
I don't know. And
Mine was okay, but it's a little bit of a delicate flower. It'd come back, with claw, it'd be a little bent,
Yeah. So yeah, that's so anyway, I'm just saying we're running 6 can to build up our competition. Because Scott's not pushing. I think he was pushing on this new robot because it's so cool. He's got it completely made out of aluminum. It's, he machined all his parts, got it all the way he wanted it. That was a big accomplishment for him. The fact that it ran good just probably was because it was made good,
Yeah, it's certainly a top roboticist.
Yeah. So, and we don't want to discourage the top end of our people either. So I don't know. I'm if it gets to be a bigger problem, okay, and you guys that like sumo, you need to step up. I have no desire to make a sumo robot. It has no appeal to me at all, but that's just me, so I'm not going to compete with him in sumo because I don't like sumo. I do like 6 can, and I would love to have, I have had robots in the past that did sub 1/2 inch in this 4 square. I never did a 0, but a sub 1/2 inch. But I haven't. My big 2016 club robot. He can't do that. He's got too much inertia, and he just drifts too far. Even when you break it, it just doesn't do it. So I'm sure a good person. I'm sure Scott could make it work. Not me. So I don't know, Paul. I kind of have to push back.
Well, thanks for the discussion, guys. And I'm not hearing a lot of support for the idea, so I'll back off.
Okay.
Kareem put in a note in the chat as a reminder to update the rules to put in time as a discriminator between highest scoring robots.
Oh, you mean in 4 square?
Quick Trip.
Huh?
Quick Trip. Timing isn't even in the rules right now. Needs to go back in as a tiebreaker.
Oh, I thought it was for sure.
It's not there.
I'll have to look where. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Kareem, it was supposed to be there.
It's all right.
It's supposed to be, but if you don't get a perfect score, if you don't get the 7,
it only matters
4 people.
in the perfect score.
Yeah, it's only for.
If that happened and we went by the timing like everybody expected we would, it's just good to be feature complete with the rules.
So go down, slide down to the play. Okay, then slide down to the next one. There should be something there about scoring or something.
Yeah, scoring. And doesn't say anything about time.
Yeah, timing is not in there.
Okay, used to be.
I remember it being there.
It used to be underneath a perfect score is 7, and then underneath there it was supposed to say, in the case of a tie, something got deleted. Okay.
Just blame it on WordPress. You know, you got it.
Yeah. No, I'm afraid that's me.
Okay. Let the record show that
Yeah.
that Doug said
But Doug is not
typing is going
perfect.
back into the rules.
Yeah, I'll get it back in the rules. Yeah. Yeah. I think I might be having a David Anderson movement, you know, where Dave, you know, was always against things. He said everything turns into a speed race. Well, that one's supposed to be a speed race. You know, so I don't think that's, be too upset with that one. But you know, I really did think we had a good turnout and a lot of fun, and hopefully next year we'll even get bigger and better.
Yeah. So way more people than I expected, and way more competitors than I expected.
I enjoyed Delbert's. Was that Delbert's family? That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Family affair.
Yep. Oh, by the way, Delbert, almost all of the lines in all of the contests are made with blue painter's tape.
Yeah.
And we use the what do you call the good stuff? Is it Scotch tape?
Yeah, the thing that threw us off was the color of the floor.
Yeah.
Have you all ever thought about making that one of them, making a banner for the quick trip that you just roll out like you do the? I mean, is that?
Yeah, we talked about that last year. We talked about that last year, and you know where that went, Michael. No, you're right. We really need to do that. Even if we didn't do the straight parts, if we just did the ends, you know, if we just did the 2 end pieces, it would roll up real small and you could just put it out there, and, you know, and then we could argue about them not being lined up. But I don't know. Or we could make the whole thing, though. I don't know what the price of banners are anymore. We also need a true beginner, beginner line following. We had it. We used to have one, but I believe somebody borrowed it and took it to practice with, and it never came back. That's my theory.
I think Ron mentioned something about having one.
Who?
When we were there, he mentioned he had something similar. But
Well, he didn't have that one.
Okay.
I think he had parts of, he came and gave the club, I believe, some practice parts of the challenge course.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So,
Gotcha.
they're just small units of it that you have to master. So.
Did we ever find the challenge course? It may be wrapped up with it.
There is a challenge course, and we didn't pull it out. That is a possibility, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. Because we might only had 2 tubes,
Mm-hmm.
and in which we would probably roll them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they were rolled together the last I saw them, but that was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that might be it.
I just put a link in the sticker banners com. That's who we used before. We used the Texas location, which is over near Arlington, I think.
Yeah.
They'll ship like in a day or two. And I think it's up a little bit now. It used to be, I think, $159 or $179 a square foot. Now it's $199 a square foot, but still.
That's still reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not too bad.
Tariffs,
And the instructions to do that all are still in the Git repo.
Yeah. We need to check next time we're down there if it's rolled up with a challenge course.
Yeah.
It's not with the advanced course. We know that because we had the advanced course out. Yeah. Well, we just dumbed it down. So.
So Doug, where are we at on the proposal to make a Da Vinci Award?
The Da Vinci Award, I haven't counted the votes, so they've been coming in. I think we're close. If we're not over 50%, we're close. Well, let me look at my email. I can probably tell you. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I believe we're over half. We're over half. So
great.
Yeah, so you can announce that if you want. So Kareem's here.
Yeah. So Kareem, just to bring you up to speed, we had a discussion, first of all, between Doug and myself, and then he looped in all the winners. And the proposal was that Fernando and Jay should receive a Da Vinci Award for their innovative swerve robot. And it sounds like the more than half of the winners have agreed with that proposal, which I think it's well deserved. So,
well, that's super cool. Appreciate that. I'll let them know.
Yeah. So,
can we put Anuya's name on it too? She wasn't there at the competition, but she's the one who designed the chassis.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Fernando did the swerve modules, and
can you?
Jay did the code.
Yeah, can you do make sure we spell their names right?
Sure.
Send that to Paul and me.
Yeah. And I was thinking, at least when I was thinking it was Fernando and Jay, I was thinking about doing one trophy for each of them. Do you think I should, or do you think I should just do one trophy period?
I can do them one.
I think I think one for the team is fine. I mean,
I mean, I don't mind making more than one. It's just cut them out. And I thought
okay.
I thought I'd do that. That thing came across Discord with the illuminated base. I thought that'd be really cool. With the
yeah, that would be super cool. And then you can just etch them. There was two different kinds. One where they had the acrylic part already cut out. The harder part there is you got to register each one of them when you put it in the etcher. But then the other way is I think it's thicker acrylic than you've been using. So if you get just the base itself, you need to make sure you get the same thickness of aluminum acrylic so that it won't flop around in the base and picks up the edge lighting correctly. And I could get you the measurement of that if you want. If that's the way you're going, then that's cool, and that might be a good trial run for the next set of.
Exactly. I'm thinking, we should up the trophy, level up the trophies, and
those were really popular with the
They look really cool.
Yeah, they are cool.
Yeah, if you want to send me some info on that, I think the Da Vinci Award is probably I hope it's in the repo, the DPRG.
If it isn't, Ron has it. Ron. Yeah. Because he sent a picture of one.
Yeah. The markup. I might hit you up for some more laser cutting down at the makerspace here in a bit. Yep.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. I think those guys, the three of them that made that thing, it's just so innovative. And I recognize it wasn't working properly, but it was just really novel.
They'll get it there, and then it might be more than just fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll get that made and probably send it to you, Kareem, because you see those guys regularly, right? And you can hand it off to a presentation, whatever you want, however you want to do that.
We might get together online, and you can.
Yeah. Or maybe at a DPRG
or something.
Yeah.
Or we could do
RBNV or something.
Yeah. Sure. Sounds good. Cool. Thank you. That's great.
Excellent. Well, thanks everyone for your support in making that happen. I think it was well deserved and the right thing to do. And I missed SpaceX.
They cratered again.
Oh no.
Yeah, the booster failed on the way down. They didn't expect it to do a great job. They were sacrificing it to do some extra tests and make it come in with a very aggressive angle, and it apparently blew up on the burn that were, it would normally slow down, and then the orbital part, the Starship itself, started going wonky after a little while, like it did on Flight 3, and ended up spinning itself to death. And didn't make it to back to insertion. Or well, it made it back to insertion, but I'm sure there are going to be videos if it came down anywhere near where people could get a camera shot of it, then it should be spectacular again. That happened just before the meeting started. Hey, Paul, I want to let you know that the guy who maintained the ROS plugin for VS Code, do you ever use that?
No, I mean, I've got it installed, but I don't actually use it. I don't actually know what it can do, but go on.
So that project sort of went defunct and wound down when the guy who was maintaining it was a Microsoft employee.
Yeah, his name was Lou Madio.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he's a good guy. So basically, I don't think he's with Microsoft anymore, but he's sort of taken over the project, and so it's living again, and he's improving it, and like I'm working with him on the URDF plugin a little bit and testing it in Windsurf. So for compatibility outside of just VS Code straight. So just want to let you know he's working on it. If you want to take a look at it, it's on GitHub.
Cool. So is that something that I would a plugin that I would find on the extensions?
Yeah, it's in the extensions marketplace for VS Code. I don't know if it automatically pushes. He just rebuilt the URDF one. Because and now it should have, like, it never worked so great, the URDF one for me. But so there's a you can do URDF previews inside of VS Code using that plugin. And you can manipulate them a little bit. So he's working on updates to that. So he's sort of taken over that and moved into his GitHub repos.
Oh. What else will it do that's useful?
Well, there's two different ones. One is the URDF one, and one is the ROS2 one. He's also got a ROS 1 version, but you know, I've never sort of used that much. But it'll help you debug, launch files, and supposed to help. There's supposed to be like a ROSDEP shortcut and things like that. It can create build and test tasks, and so it's just a way of like automating VS Code a little bit with some extra commands, things that you probably just absolutely fine typing out on the command line. So
don't count on it.
But it configures IntelliSense for you exactly how that fits in with like the Python IntelliSense and all that other stuff. I'm not so sure. I'm never sure which parts of all of the plugins in VS Code are doing what. Right? They don't really tell you unless you just like go through the command palette and explicitly find the command from one particular one to do something. But so it does some automations and stuff, and it seems to have been helpful for me in the past. So and with he seems to be willing to continue working on it in such a way that it can be used from like Windsurf and what's the other one that everybody's using? Cursor.
Claude, maybe?
Cursor. And both of those can use multiple LLMs. But this is just about the open source version of VS Code.
Cool. Thanks, Kareem.
Sure.
Well, are we running out of news topics?
So I don't know about out of news, but like just like for my own personal like robotics project. So I tried to enter the competition for the Roborama, but and I was trying to hack one of those old school Roombas. It was the 500 series. And while I was trying to mess with the SEI port, I realized that the motherboard was fried like 1 or 2 days before the competition, so I wasn't able to enter, unfortunately. So hopefully maybe next month, for the next monthly gathering, I'll be able to show something. But actually, let me turn on my video. How do I flip the camera around? Okay, so this is what I was trying to work on so far. So it's pretty much similar to the Arduino car, but I 3D printed the top chassis. And then I have someone many months when I first joined DPRG gifted me a LiDAR. So I have the LiDAR on top, and then I'm going to use a Pi 02W as the main controller. And then since I did not have encoders, I decided to use stepper motors on the bottom for pretty much my own way to use odometry, since you can have them rotate at very precise increments. I guess part of it is, I guess the main thing I'm running into is like how to like kind of wire it all together, because again, I don't want to, of course, not short anything or anything like that. So that's just one of the things that I'm working on, trying to figure that out. But yeah.
Cool. What's that rectangular orange box?
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Pi Zero.
So this is the enclosure for the Pi.
Oh, that's a Pi Zero. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then this here is the motor controller for the steppers, and there's an Arduino. Arduino Nano on it. So usually for these setups, you can you use the Pi for like the main controller, or like the main like driver for the whole bot, and then you also hook up like an Arduino like specifically to handle like most of like the steppers and like lower stuff. Is that correct? Or
Yes.
okay. But yeah, that's what I'm working on so far, and hopefully by next month I'll be able to show something. Yeah.
Cool.
Paul, are we having a show and tell next month, or because that's
no,
an
next
off-site
month-
visit?
Right. Next month we're having the site visit at RobotLAB. So there'll be the July monthly meeting.
Probably. Yeah. But I
Get
guess
an extra month.
yeah. So not this upcoming one, but the next one.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then just one of the things I wanted to add about when either you or someone else were mentioning like the restraints or like to help like newer members or those who like may not have access to many resources, limit it to like one bot per like competition. Like could you clarify, is it one bot per competition, or is it like one bot for each challenge, like one bot for this challenge, one for that?
Well, the outcome of the discussion was that there will be no such limitation.
Okay. Okay, that's good. All right. I think that's all I have for now on questions, but yeah.
Don't let that extra month get away from you. You can show it at RBNVs or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we love seeing robots at
Intermediate progress,
especially ones that move.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a gold
work in
star.
progress. Work in progress is great too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, remind me, what's all going on at the upcoming, like this upcoming monthly meeting?
So we're going to get a tour of RobotLAB headquarters. So RobotLAB is a company that distributes, helps its franchisees sell and supports a variety of robots. They've got something like 60 or 70 robots in their catalog, primarily in the greeter bot, short-range delivery bot, like think restaurant bots and cleaning bots kind of space. And so RobotLAB has a business model where they have a headquarters in South Lake and the headquarters staff, they've got technical staff at that can know how to install these robots, how to fix them, how to program them, how to like make them do application specific code on them, and they support the franchisees, and then there are franchisees all over the US and some in South America who actually go out and find customers for these different robots and applications, and work with the customer to design a solution, and then they may draw on the HQ staff for support in implementing the solution. We came to know about RobotLAB when Mark and I went to see that play, RUR, Rossum's Universal Robots, and one of the actors in the play had brought along a small greeter robot, and it was chattering away, and so we talked to her for a bit and asked her if we could like get a tour of their headquarters, and she handed us off to Mishva Desai, who is the owner of the local franchise, and for the DFW area. And I talked to Mishva, and she offered to give us a tour. And apparently they've got should at any one time have typically 20 or 30 robots there. So it'd basically be go and look at and pore over all of their robots and ask how they work, and kind of like site visit.
Do you think they have any samples? Maybe.
You can ask Ray. I think they're gonna give out a few Atlas robots.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. The new ones.
Yeah, the electric ones. But they've actually got they represent a whole plethora of robot vendors, robot manufacturers. Some that you've seen over the years. So that one that was at the RUR play was called, what was it called? Pepper.
Yeah.
And it was originally designed by a French company whose name I looked up, but I can't remember it just at the moment. So they also rep. Let's see. So I'm going to just share their wrong button. Share their web page. So this is Pepper on the right here. Under cleaning is one of their areas. So they have some Roomba-like robots and a scrubber robot. So these are all robots made by different companies that RobotLAB is essentially repping through their franchisees. And then hospitality. Three restaurant. These are robots that can deliver dishes to a table, or maybe assist bus people in bringing dirty dishes back. Maybe I don't really know how they're planned to be used, but you can see there's like a bunch of different robots.
Rid of labor issues. Robotic table service.
So I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a fun industry, a fun trip to capability delivery. What do we got under delivery? Oh, and remember we had Kabam came out and did a talk about their two robots. There's the security robots, and that's where I just was. Okay, never mind. And anyway, they rep them. So basically, they, if someone has a robot, they probably rep it, and their franchisees go out and sell the solution, and RobotLAB has capacity to do the application.
So I want to see the robot junkyard. That's the.
Yeah.
Let me pause for broken robots.
That's what the next so that was a long-winded way of answering Kyle's question about what is going on at the next monthly meeting. It's a road trip out to South Lake to have a look at robot headquarters, and it'll probably be RSVP. So you need to RSVP to because I mean any business is not going to just let like street people in, right? I mean, they want to know who's coming. And
I don't know. I'll put my name on that list. They may think twice. I'm just saying about it letting anybody in.
So anyway, I'll be organizing the specifics of that with Meshva and announcing it on the email list and on Discord, and we'll get RSVPs, and then anyone who says they'll come will have an invitation. And I guess the end of June is June when we would have the quarterly robot power lunch? January, February, March, when
Yeah.
April, May, or is it July?
At the end of the quarter, right?
Yeah, the end of the quarter. That's right, because we had the first one in December. Yeah. And then the second one in March. Okay, so I'll organize a robot power lunch. Kyle, question for you. You posted a few questions on Discord about the Roomba, but then you just said its motherboard is blown up. So is that the end of that project? Is it no longer something on your radar?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So my plan, so what I've showed you on my original bot was I was planning on using the LiDAR and the Pi on the Roomba. So I'm just moving those components off and then pretty much created my own like chassis from scratch. And I'm just going to be using that instead. As for the Roomba, maybe in the distant future, well, not so distant probably, but I know that you can get motherboard replacements for like $20 or $30, which, while not bad, that's like the same price as getting another like used Roomba. So if I wanted to like continue like maybe for next year's competition, maybe find one of those that are used on like eBay or something like that, then I may do that. But for now, I'm just going to stick with my custom built from scratch model.
Cool. What software are you thinking about using on it, Kyle?
I haven't gotten there yet. I know ROS is very popular in terms of middleware. Right now, I'm just trying to like get like just the basics of like just being able to. Honestly, I don't know, because this is like the first time I've ever touched anything in LiDAR. So if any of you have like suggestions or advice of what to like use for software, that would be great.
Boy, that's a wide open question, isn't it? I would tend to go in one direction, but others would tend to go in other directions. There's going to be a different answer from as many people as you ask, I think.
Well, he probably just needs to be pointed to an Arduino library.
Yeah, well, I mean, for like the Arduino and Pi, I think I have most of that covered, but like specifically for the LiDAR.
Well, what would you use the LiDAR for?
Well, pretty much just like spatial navigation. I know that I could just use the camera. So on the front here, I do have a Pi camera right here. That's going to be for like the front-facing vision, as pretty much a backup for whether it's like finding cones or anything like that. I just know that for a lot of the competitions, they used LiDAR, such as Mike's Robot, and I know a few others used LiDAR in past like demonstrations, and also just kind of like to play around and learn how to use LiDAR. But yeah. So for this right here, I noticed that it came with some V1.2 LiDAR controller. I'm not sure if you can see right there. So I've never now, is this like something that's like common? Like, have you ever messed with anything like this kind of controller or this kind of LiDAR before? I think I don't recall who gave it to me. I wish I recall. But yeah, I couldn't find anything online so far on like how to use it. But I guess with some more searching, I'll try to find something, unless if someone has any directions or pointers on where to find anything about this.
And remind me of the model of that LiDAR?
I don't know. All I know is it just says LiDAR controller V1.2 on the side. And then for the module itself, I don't see what the model would be. I just know, or I've heard at least, that it's one of the older Roborock LiDARs, but that's all I believe I know.
It looks like it's one of the ones that came out of a Neato, vacuum cleaner.
I could be thinking of Neato. It's one of those like lower cost vacuum cleaners with LiDAR.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, I actually messed with one of them years and years ago. And then the rubber band broke, and that was the end of it.
Oh.
So the board, actually, someone in the club did a converter board for it.
Mr. LaCroix.
Yes, that's right. And he packetized up the data. Because if I recall correctly, what he did on his controller board was he PWM'd the motor so that he kept it running at whatever rate it was supposed to run at. I think that one's supposed to run at 5 revolutions per second.
Yeah, I want to say it was 300 RPMs or something like that for the little motor.
That would be 5 revolutions per second. And
is that what it is?
And then it also, there's an index. I seem to recall there's some kind of an index marker in the sensor on the spinning turret. It tells you it's at the beginning of the scan, and so his firmware took that and then spat out the serial data, the amplitude of the reflections from each sample that came back from the LiDAR, and stuffed it into kind of a packetized format that had a header and so you could tell where the start of the packet was. And so I think,
yeah, it spit out 360 readings per rotation. I think yours, Paul, does a lot more than that, like 500 some odd points.
Yes. It runs at 10 revolutions per second, so 600 RPM. But so, Kyle, that interface board, I think, is the concern here, because without XV, yeah, it's a lot XV LiDAR controller.
That looks like his board.
Does it?
I think so. Doug would know. Doug, are you out there?
Wait, so what's the problem, or what looks like a problem?
Well, you got to know what format the board is spitting data. The board is spitting out its data in. So that you got a USB serial connector on there, or a USB connector that has a USB serial port behind it, and so you're going to get data out of it. But you got to know the format of the data. It's like you got to know how to tell the start. Gosh, have I got one of them? I don't think so. I think I threw that away when the rubber band broke. But what about the software?
Yeah, I think he did it for one of the earlier teensies, maybe a 2.1.
Yeah, that sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of the teensy, I have noticed on the board, like right below it, if you can see, it does say teensy 2.0.
Oh, 2.0. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah. Why do you mention that?
Yeah, that's Get Surreal, and he's actually was an old member of of the club, and he has a GitHub up there with a basic program. Yeah, but I believe that you would look at getsurreal.com. I believe. But if you look up Get Surreal, you'll probably find the right link. So, but
okay. Yeah. GIT or GET?
I think it's GET.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So GETsurreal.com.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He made the board, and so yeah, that like I say, I don't know if you can get a Teensy 2.1 anymore, but that's okay, because the real if you look at this, what this board does is it added the ability to have a PID loop on the motor, and so you really only have one of those connectors, I believe, captures the serial port information, and the other one monitors the motor speed. And it turns out on those particular LiDARs, motor speed isn't super critical, and you can really just kind of set it at 30 RPMs. But if you look at the board itself, I believe it has just the FET to drive the motor, the motor, and the rest of it is just the pinout for the 2. And I don't know if the 2's pinout is similar to the 3 or the 4. I know it isn't. Well, I don't know. He tried to keep things compatible.
I mean, if he's got a working board, then he doesn't need a new board or a new teensy. He just needs to know how to talk to it. And I just, so Kyle, I just posted a link to his site.
Yeah.
It has a description of the board, and it's got a link to, it's got a list of commands that the board accepts. And I found a previous link that has, okay, here's a link that has an XV LiDAR controller visual test. And it starts, it's a Python script that shows the data. Let me post that link. And
get your ass over here and get up in the marketplace.
there you go. So Kyle, those 2 links should enable you to talk to like get the board talking to your serial port and get and display the video data.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, there was also a I don't know if it was an indicator of signal quality. I think it was, but you could also look at that and determine whether you wanted to actually do something with the reading or not, because if it was too low, I think just
That's right.
the amount of reflected light wasn't nearly as much, or it was at a really shallow angle or something. So, and that was for each distance that the LiDAR produced. So,
All right. And then one last question. This is mostly like for in terms of like electronics and power delivery. So my plan for delivering power to it is to use one of these smaller drill batteries, and then I 3D printed a mount on the back, which it'll just slide onto. Once the model's finished, there's going to be metal contacts. But once this is on here, I was planning on feeding this to a buck converter right here, which will step it down to from 12 or 21 volts down to 5 volts. And then that will pretty much provide power for the entire robot. So my question is, like, if a setup like this would be okay if I used, if I moved, or if I stepped it down from the 21 volt battery to the buck converter, and then I put one of these breadboard power strip things here, would it be okay like to then just move the, or pin the 5 volts and ground to this, and then just have everything that needs power powered from this, and just wire it like directly to all the motors and everything that needs 5 volts?
yeah, these strips are very convenient, but they are not very reliable. So be forewarned. If you could solder it, you'd be much better off. The DuPont connectors are, I don't know, they don't seem to be very consistent, and the tension that those types of connectors provide, it can be very loose. Like, you can have several different DuPont connectors, and some of them will fit tight and other ones won't fit tight at all. They'll pretty much fall out of the hole. And it's, I think I don't know, I asked some of the other guys their experience with these. It's very convenient, it's very quick, but it's not very reliable.
Okay. But like from like just for like safety, as in like making sure like I don't like burn anything out or like from overcurrent or anything. I guess I could add a fuse. That's one thing, but also like outside of worrying about like how loose the connections are, like just the core concept is still all right. Is that correct?
Say that again. I didn't hear the last.
Like the core concept of delivering power from a single strip, like, is still like fine, right?
Yeah, it should be. You shouldn't run, like several amps through something that small because it's going to heat up. But yeah, if you just, like maybe for the initial hookup, but you look at Scott's robots, Scott doesn't use those. I don't think Doug uses them that much either.
I use them to make sure things work. Those DuPont connectors, crimping those things is like, that's just, I don't know, there's some ninth level of hell or something that you have to go through to do that. And two, as soon as you do get them connected up and everything's working just right, like I've got my Mr. Big Head thing that I built on the bench. I've got this whole mobile Mr. Big Head. I'm building this whole thing because the 80 or so wires I have connected in there, if I bump the bench wrong, my eyes start going crazy. And I didn't move it much. So if I had to go make this thing mobile and take it somewhere, they're great for figuring out that this circuit's going to work or not. But then as soon as you think, oh man, this thing was just working, I turn around and it's not working. I can't tell you it's 9 times out of 10, but those DuPont connectors and those boards that those 2 rows there, they got that breadboard thing going on there, immediately become suspect in my eyes. So there's plenty of screw connectors out there that will do exactly what you want to do, and they're almost as quick to set up. Screw terminals. In fact,
that's true. Yeah, especially if you can get the ones that are 1/10 spacing.
And in fact, I'm going to bet a whole bunch of money that there's a screw terminal set up for your Raspberry Pi out there that you just slap on top of the thing and start screwing stuff in. In fact, I'm 98.999% sure. So get it working with that breadboard stuff, and then as soon as you start moving and you start having problems, I would hold those things highly suspect.
Now, by screw terminals, are you referring to something like this where they have
exactly like that?
Okay,
exactly like that. In fact, if you go look at places, people like I think it's 52 Pi and a couple of other folks out there that make Raspberry Pi accessories, or just look up screw terminal on Amazon and look up Raspberry Pi 0, 2, whatever one you got, whatever one you because they got a bunch of them, and look up screw terminal, and you do the same. They have them for almost every major board out there. They got them for the Teensies, 4.1, all that kind of stuff. They got them ESP32. I got a bucket full of them over here because I use them when I start putting things together. I slap that in there, mount the whole thing to the board, and I start screwing things into it to make things work.
Yep.
And you can use the DuPont connectors, like you've got the male connectors with the ends on them. The crimps work. It's just the connection between that pin and the motherboard gets a bit shaky. A screw terminal will remove that shakiness.
Yep.
So I'm +1 in Ray, probably a bit more than anybody wanted me to +1 Ray, as far as length of time and fashion thing. But I can't tell you how many. I can guess how many number of hours I spent debugging those stupid things. Now, if you multiply that by me, Ray, Paul, everybody you see on the screen here, that becomes a very big number. And Paul's over there laughing because he knows.
Hey, I found what you need. I got just the product on Amazon. Let me paste the link in. Oh yeah, I pasted that link in. If you have a look at that link I just put in the chat, Kyle. It's a little circuit board that's got those screw connectors, just like you were showing, except there's 12 of them in 2 rows. And I believe that will be, and it costs $6, $7. And that's where you could put your plus and minus from your buck converter in at the end. And then you got like 12 outputs, and that'll be solid and robust and reliable, and it'll just do what you want.
And how many amps does that thing take? Probably a bunch. I'm looking at 10 amps pretty quick. At just a quick glance, 10 amps. And 10 amps running through that little robot, that's a lot of current.
So this says it's good for 10 amps.
Wow.
Yeah, if you look at the product, it's got a big fat old trace that runs down each side of the board from the 2 end connectors. Anyway, that's going to be a better choice than those DuPont connectors in terms of being reliable, Carl.
Yep, and 10 amps is really overkill because I don't even think I'll be using that much. It's just 2 steppers and a Pi.
Right. You probably be using, I don't know, I'm going to guess with a Pi, you're using a couple of amps and steppers, depending on how hard you're running them, whether they're running while the motors are not running, but you're not going to use more than an amp a motor, I wouldn't think.
I don't know. The Pi's tend to run many amps.
Yep, that's a Pi Zero though, but it's not going to run as much as the Pi 4.
Pi Zero.
Yeah, but you are right. It'll run. I bet that thing will pull an amp when you're running pretty easy, even the Zero.
Yeah. But so it's not going to be a problem for that screw terminal circuit board that I posted a link for.
Oh, so hungry? You need all your food? Well, that's smart. Well, she never really does snacks.
So that's pretty cool, Kyle, and I think Kareem's advice to get an Arduino script to run your stepper motors is good advice. Then you'll at least get the wheels turning, and then you can think about control, and you can try out your LiDAR and
Right. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I have. Now, just like before I head off, for the next, you mentioned some kind of like, correct me if I'm wrong, some kind of like work day, like between the next monthly meeting and today, or before the next monthly meeting. Remind me, when was that again? And is that the space, right?
Yeah, we haven't set a date, but it seemed in talking to Mike and Mark, it seemed to us that Robie needs a little more love to get him ready for Moon Day in July. But so are you interested in participating in that?
I'd love to like help where I can. I'm not like, again, I'm sure they're far more experienced than I am like at this moment, but if there's something that I want to like point out or share, then yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, so we haven't set a date yet, and I'm love to have you come along and participate. I'm worried that I'll forget to post that we're going to do that on the email or something. Trying to figure out how to do that. Probably need to think about that.
All right. And then you can just either message me in Discord or something like that. But yeah.
Okay, so Discord gets through to you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What else we got? It's getting kind of late, so maybe it's time we bailed. You got anything else? Losing audience? Okay, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Good to see you all. See you all next week.
Thanks, Paul. Night all.
All right.
Good night.